Hello there folks, this is Johnny again and welcome back to my new in-depth mixing tutorial series. So let's check what we've done so far. Actually, everything we've done so far was keeping it very simple. I think that's pretty much the main point that will go through this whole mixing series, is keep it simple. With the EQ that we've done so far, as you can see, it's very simple moves. Just some top shelf to brighten things up where it's needed and cutting some lower mids where it's needed. These are very broad moves all over for now, except for the overheads perhaps and the room mics, because the cymbals have a little bit of problem in the top range. So I did already do some preciser moves in order to fix some things that are just immediately piercing in my ears. So when you notice something right away, then by all means take care of it right away. Also on the overheads, I had to do this kind of EQ. It's just applied to the left side, not to the right side. So the left crash had this kind of piercing frequency at around 13K, and I had to dip that down a little bit. So let's just give it a quick listen. Alright, so in this video I kind of want to just take care of the low end a little bit more, and for that we need to start working on our bass guitar. So let's loop a section. Wait, what section makes sense to loop? Yeah, that's a good section. There's a lot of dynamics in here, so that's good to work with. Now, first of all, we just need a bass tone actually. This is just a raw DI. I mean, you could work with a raw DI, but going with an actual bass tone will give you more interesting sounding results. So for this, I like to use TH3. The free TSE-BOD plugin works also very well on the bass guitar. But since I have this one available and the tone I'm getting with it is much preferred in my opinion, then I will also go with this. So let's get this in here, let's get this in here and load up. Oh, I don't have it in here yet. Hang on. Okay. Let's see. I like to go with impulse responses from Rosen Digital. For me, those are just the best bass cab impulses I've found so far. Let's just check out the Ampeg SVT. Okay, so that's already something. So this amp sadly doesn't have just a volume knob at the end to compensate for it. This master is actually adding some saturation and whatnot from the power amp section of this amp. So let's just get this one in here. It just sounds way more aggressive that way. I much prefer that than just having the raw DI in there. Okay, turning on ultra high is just too piercing. We don't really need that. Turning on the ultra low setting gives us a very nice scooped sound, but I kind of like that breathy, roaring mid-range in there. So I might actually keep it like this. Okay, now what I kind of want to do as well is I want to put a compressor before this whole amp section. So let's go in here and set audio dynamics. Which one should we use? Let's just go with a generic C1 comp. So let's check out the section back here where there is more dynamics going on. Yeah, you notice there's one or the other strum that's just poking out quite a bit. Wow. And I want to get control of all of that kind of before I actually hit the distortion and overdrive from the bass amp. So I have a very smooth, consistent bass tone. You know what, let's get an even higher ratio in here. Perhaps, wait, let's do it like this. I want to have first a compressor that kind of takes care of these peaks that are jumping out. So let's do it a little bit almost like a limiter in here. Yeah, let's do it like this. Just a little bit of control before we hit TH3. Now in TH3, I still want to use a noise gate to make particularly parts like this a little bit choppier. Let's make the attack on this compressor not too fast so we don't lose the attack of the picking. At the same time, we don't want to have it too slow, so these heavy, loud spikes that happen at times also don't punch through too much. And then TH3, the distortion here will take care of the rest. So this is a good setup for now. Now we can still see if we want to have a different cap in here. And now I want to have a different section again. Hang on. So let me load up one over here and one over there. I think in the mix I like the amp pack a little bit better. Well, let's save this on our new mix. Okay, and now I'm gonna switch to my headphones and check the low end. And for this again, switching to mono is pretty good because then you're not distracted by all the stereo width and stuff that's on the side. But in the center, you can really see how the low end fits to the rest. For example, I already noticed the bass is quite strong. And now I notice the kick kind of has an upper bass range poof to it. I rather want to have it be a more lower end focused, really strong thud that really smacks you in the chest. And that will fit this kind of very groovy style of music much better. So we may need to switch around our EQ for that. So, or maybe we don't even have enough EQ bands in here. So, what shall we do? What shall we do? This is one thing I would, I would wish for, that this EQ would have 2 more bands. 4 bands oftentimes is not enough. Yeah, so let's, you know what? Let's switch it around like this. We can use a different EQ later on for some more specific stuff. Right now we are still in a bit more rougher stuff, so let's do that. So oftentimes also here this 200 Hertz range, 100 to 200 can sound a little bit kind of poofy. So we can lower that a little bit, and then we want to focus more on the lower range around 50 Hertz. Okay, something like this. And now for the bass guitar, we also want to give it a little bit of EQ already to make sure we have a nice EQ separation. But you can hear already at this point, it actually works quite well. You just see already on the spectrums, naturally the bass focuses more around 100 Hz and the kick more around here 150 to 100 Hz. So you usually don't have to do a whole lot in order to make things fit together. On the bass guitar, we can just put a little bit of a filter. Let's go not too strong, so we don't lose that nice, round, rich sub-range from the bass guitar. So something around... Yeah, you could basically... You know, the frequency that you boost on the kick drum? Here now we chose... Yeah, let's just round it to 50 Hz. So on the bass guitar, we can also go round to 50 Hz. That means at 50 Hz, we already have a little bit of a gain reduction in here, as you can see. And that's usually already enough. And then, so we don't lose any strength in the bass, let's focus a little bit more on 100 Hz. But of course, let's do it in the mix. Okay, now we hear this boxy mid-range. Perhaps you want to lower a little bit. You notice when you lower that boxy mid-range, then by contrast, here that lower range, around 100 Hz, kind of stands out a little bit more. Okay, let's keep it like this. Perhaps also a high filter, because there's a lot of that how would you call it? The kind of rattling pick attack. See, I don't really like it in there, so I kind of want to filter that out. Okay, and now what we could do is, again, find the spot in the mid-range in here that makes the bass kind of pop out of the mix a little bit more. And you can already see in the spectrum, it's definitely here around between 1 and 2K. Okay. Of course, now it's a matter of opinion how much you want to have that mid-range of the bass kind of step out of the mix and really make it more audible. For this song, I think it works really well because it just adds that roar to the whole sound. Okay, now that we have our bass guitar pretty much in the ballpark, I noticed the rhythm guitars are mushing things up quite a bit in here. You know what? When you have to do these kinds of extreme EQ moves, then probably you should rather work on your guitar tone first. So let's get that in here. You know what? Let's open up both. Of course, I could do the guitar tone on the bus rather than the individual tracks, but later on I might get into some things where I need to do things differently on these two rhythm guitar tracks. So first of all, I kind of want to reset my noise gate so it's working a little bit harder in that choppy riffage. Yeah, we need a little bit more tone in here so it doesn't get too mushy. So let's try it like this. Yeah, that works much better. And as you can see, now we don't really need that low end lowering. In general, when you find you have just too much of a boomy, muddy low end in the rhythm guitars, I would recommend don't just filter it to the point that it's fixed, because then your guitar tones can start to sound very thin. Rather, what I personally like to do is I just keep my low end filter around 100 Hertz, just so it's not eating up space for the bass guitar down here and the kick drum. And then I just use an EQ band to lower between 100 and 200 Hertz with a rather wide bell or wide bandwidth, like this. This way you keep it deeper sounding because you still have that low end in here. It's just not as loud and not as strong, and it doesn't muddy things up. Okay, now that we changed the guitar tones a little bit, I want to check the mid-range. There's something in there that I don't like. So let's switch back to mono. It's weird, now this 1K range that we boosted beforehand is kind of getting too strong. Maybe we don't even need that boost right now anymore. Yeah, I kind of want to lower that range now because of the tone boost we did before the preamp. So this 1K range after the fact is kind of standing out a little bit too much. So that's what I want to get under control in here. But let's check out some more parts to see how it's all working together. Okay. At this point, I kind of wanna go on working on the guitar tones. Perhaps, you know what? Let's lower this a little bit. We're rather to 7 than 8, so we have a better balance in there. Yeah, that works a little bit better. The thing is that there's something boxy now, so let's check that out. Wait, I need a part to loop. Yeah, that's good. Wait. Okay, hang on. Still want to have that verse in here. Where is it? Yeah, something like this works a little bit better. So that boxy mid-range around 600 hertz, I had to lower a little bit, and then boosting again around 1.3 to make it sit better in the mix. Okay, but now for further low-end control, hang on, I need, hang on. We could either use multiband compression, or what I like to do, I'm looking for TDR Nova. Okay. So here, the 100 hertz range, I want to compress that a little bit to get control over the palm mutes. Okay, and I kind of want to do the same for the bass guitar. So let's put this as well. Okay, now here we have to watch out. The Pro channel is set to post, so everything that's done on the Pro channel will happen after our FX chain. Just to keep that in mind. But at this stage, what I'm doing right now, it's not really a big deal. So let's do something similar in here. Put this around 100 Hertz, that's where it's strongest, and then like this, nice high ratio. Yeah, a little bit slower attack because low frequencies take some time to build up. Medium release. And the way I like to do it here on the bass guitar, I just boost the gain, 6 dB, and then I want to get a gain reduction of 6 dB. Not even going that far. What's going on here? There's our problem. So when you're working on the mono channel, definitely switch TDR Nova to mono. Otherwise, things get weird. So now in this way, the loudest low-end parts stay where they were, and then things that become a little bit quieter, like upper notes on the upper strings, they are raised. And then notice on the upper strings there's this ringing happening, and we can get control over that here with TDR as well. So let's loop that part. And for that, I want to have a kind of leveling style of compression. So really, whenever that string is hit, then that resonance gets dipped down and stays down pretty much. So we want to have a slower release for that and a fast-ish attack. Okay, something like this. I would, of course, prefer if I could go with a higher Q so I can narrow that compression threshold region that you see in the blue line a little bit more. But for that, you would have to buy the full version of this plugin. And right now, I only have the free version available, so that's that. While we're at it, let's check out here the secondary guitar tracks. Nah, they don't really sound like they need more work. What I did notice over the course of this whole thing so far is the sibilance here on the vocals.
These are the scribbles of a broken man.
I definitely want to take care of that right now. So let's get a de-esser in here. I'm pretty sure there are a bunch of free de-essers out there that you can try out. Or TDR Nova, again, just pinpoint that harsh frequency and compress that. But I really like here the de-esser from Waves.
These are the scribbles of a broken man trying to find broken man trying to find his own path here in the avenues of most distress. Can he find his way?
Wow! Oh man, I like how he goes that high.
I've been walking circles for so many days. I can't read this surface, can't make sense of this.
Let's see if the other track also needs it.
So many days.
Yeah, kind of. So, let's just put them all of that. Oops. Like this, like this, like this. And let's check the threshold.
So many can't make sense of this terrain.
You can kind of hear the pitch correction working in a weird way at that spot. I didn't really correct anything at that point, but still the pitch correction kind of messes up sometimes with its detection, and then it's wobbling around like this, even though it's doing nothing.
Can't make sense of this terrain.
Luckily in the mix you don't hear that at all. Of course I could have automated the bypass and whatnot, but I guess I was lazy at that point. Forgive me.
When I am lost, it's just the same as when I'm found. I can't seem to take the safest.
Okay, let's do that like this. Let's go in here. Let's just delete this one and copy this one because it's pretty much the same thing.
When I am lost, it's just the same as when I'm found. I can't seem to take the safest way.
Okay, this is starting to sound pretty good so far for a rough mix. What I want to try out now is rather use the dual bass track technique, however you want to call it. So let's copy this track, duplicate track, duplicate the bands, yes, but not effects, not sense. Yeah, let's keep it like this. So now what we're gonna do, this one we're gonna call bass low end. This one we're gonna call bass distortion, like this. On this one, we are going to put, no, wait, let's put like this, pro channel, turn this one on, and low pass at, 200 hertz. Easy peasy. Let's put this not in post. So now after this EQ, we will do compression. Just want to, wait, dynamics. I just want to have generic compressor in here. And now where's the ratio? There's the ratio. Yeah, pretty high ratio, around 4:1. So let's get a dynamic part in here again. Where was that? Wait. That, the chorus where you also had higher notes. So now we are actually dividing the workload. So now we have a very solid and also clean low end. And now on our distortion track, what we're gonna do, we don't need TDR Nova. No way, we do need it for that top end, but we don't need this band here because now the low end control is taken care of the other track. So now what we're gonna do on this one, go to Pro Channel. We also don't need this low end boost in here, and we're gonna put this high high pass filter at 200 Hertz. So this is the same frequency that we filtered also here on our low end track, as you can see. And now let's play both together. So this way you can often get more control. Yeah, I think I'm actually gonna leave it like this. I like how the low end sounds in that way. But now what we gotta do, do it like this. Where's my, hang on, models, in, out, here. Those are missing. And we need new stereo bus. Bus H, let's call it bass. Let's give it the same color. What is it? Nice dark red. And let's move it over here. Okay, and now we could do this. Oh, wait, let's wait with that. Let's do some EQ here first. But you know what? We are actually going to bypass off that EQ in here that we made on our distortion channel. So this is only filtering now, nothing else. And we want to do everything else on our bus, because now we're gonna pretend this is one tone and we're gonna do everything else on the bass bus. So this one was at, let's do it 55, and this one. And here at around 100 Hertz. Give it a little bit of a boost. You can also see here with the raw DI track, the low end goes much deeper. Here, that whole sub-range below 50 Hertz, it's much louder than doing it through the bass tone. So in that way, the bass guitar actually sounds much richer and thicker and rounder. I personally really like that. But of course, we could run into the trouble that it's standing in the way of the kick drum much more. So now we gotta check out low end again with our trusty headphones. what's also cool is now you can really get control over how loud you want to have the low end of the bass and how loud do you want to have the grit of the bass. Wait, I gotta be careful that I don't mix it up. Usually, hang on, I like to have it like this. Low end on the left and the grit on the right. And when you mute the part that you want to check, if you can kind of notice how it's contributing to the rest and how it stands in the way of something else. And for example, here now I'm muting the low end of the bass from time to time to see how much does the kick drum poke out when I mute the bass. And that way I can check if the bass stands in the way of the kick drum too much or not. But now that this works pretty fine actually. And then some additional low-end control on the bass bus will make sure that that low end really is where it's supposed to be. Man, it's sounding really rich now. Oh, I quite like where this is going. In this part, you notice the snare is pretty quiet. We will still get to that. We didn't even do any compression now on the drums and whatnot. So that will come in the next part. This part, now we just checked the low end and worked on our bass some more. And I think it's at a really good spot now. And we additionally put some more tweaking on the rhythm guitars and make sure the low end doesn't muddy things up, and now we actually have a pretty good balance going on. Again, let me stress that with each step that you do in your mix, keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate things, because later on you may run into trouble and then you won't know how to fix it because your whole setup is just too convoluted. When you do it right, with each step, you will notice later on you won't have any trouble. And when you get into mastering, you will notice you won't even have to do anything. The better the mix, the less you have to do in mastering. That's kind of a goal you could strive for. So that's it for this video. Again, please consider subscribing and check out my music and whatnot. You'll find the links in the description. And I shall see you next time.